Welcome to Bogglesocks TV. We've got lots of classic and original TV shows. Subscribe now and enjoy the video.
Sunny Sands is called Sunny Sands because it's sunny and it's sandy and it's right by the sea. I love staying here with my Auntie Jules and Uncle CJ. I love Miss Smiley's cafe and Mr. Whoops' shop and Bob's boat. Oh, and the lighthouse where Mr. Mentor the inventor lives and where he comes up with all his amazing inventions.
Ta-da!
And today, I was visiting Mr. Mentor with Uncle CJ.
Now just look at this invention. Oh, how fabadiculous is that?
Mr. Mentor doesn't just invent things, he invents words too.
Spectacularly fabadiculous. So what is it?
What is it? What do you mean, what is it? It's obvious what it is. It's a spangly, jangly, dangle dish, that's what.
Mrs. Ostrich likes it, don't you, Mrs. Ostrich?
Mrs. Ostrich has very good taste.
Dare I ask what it's for?
It's not for anything, CJ. It spangles and jangles and dangles. Well, just look at it.
Wonderful. Now, we called by to give you these, Mr. Mentor.
It's full of sparkly things. We thought you could use some of them in your inventions.
Oh, how marvelous. Oh, thank you. Oh, I love a good sparkly thing. Like this, for instance. How sparkly is this?
Wonderfully sparkly.
I can hardly tear myself away, but needs must. I'm off to a meeting of the most remarkable inventors of the universe. And I'm proud to belong, CJ. Proud to belong.
We'll give you a lift in Campo. Come on.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Wonder Bubble. Oh.
Now, Mr. Mentor wasn't the only one who loved his new invention. Someone else was keen on it. A bonglebird was watching. Bonglebirds love shiny things. And this bonglebird really loved Mr. Mentor's Spangly Jangly Dangle dish. Once we'd left Mr. Mentor at the meeting of the most remarkable inventors of the universe, I told Grandpa all about the new invention.
Well, at least it isn't for anything, Elsie. There's always trouble with Mr. Mentor's inventions if they're for anything.
No, it just dangles. It's for dangling.
Then it won't need my help.
But Grandpa was wrong. Mr. Mentor came home from his meeting and the bonglebird was on the table. She had ticked out all the sparkly bits and bobs.
Excuse me! Don't you dare pinch my sparkly bits. Shoo!
And Mr. Mentor shooed the bonglebird out of the window.
Shoo!
Then he saw his dangle dish again.
At least the bonglebird didn't steal my spangly jangly dangle dish.
But suddenly he noticed something.
Oh, my goodness. She didn't steal it. She laid her eggs in it. She thought it was a nice shiny nest. Oh, no. Mrs. Bonglebird, come back. Come and sit on your nest and hatch your babies. All is forgiven.
But Mrs. Bonglebird did not come back.
Oh, how could I have been so mean? If the bonglebird doesn't sit on her eggs, they won't hatch. CJ will know.
And Mr. Mentor ran to his phone and dialed the number for the mill on the marsh.
CJ, it's Mr. Mentor. I've done a terrible thing.
You've done a terrible thing, Mr. Mentor.
A terrible thing?
Uh-huh. Yes. I see. Oh, dear. Eggs? A bonglebird? Yes, I do see the problem.
And Mr. Mentor told Uncle CJ about the terrible thing he'd done.
Elsie, we've got to go round Sunny Sands and help Mr. Mentor find a mummy bonglebird.
What's happened?
She's laid her eggs in the spangly jangly dangle dish.
Of course she has.
And Mr. Mentor shooed her away before he'd seen them.
Of course he did.
He's so upset.
Of course he is. And you know what bonglebird eggs are like? They hatch really fast.
So we have to find the mummy bird really fast. Elsie, put your toys away. We'll take Queenie. We'll start at the beach. Meet you downstairs.
It looks like Mr. Mentor's latest invention is going to need my help after all. You go to the beach, I'll go to the lighthouse.
Not the shrinking cap, Grandpa!
Catch me if you can.
When my Grandpa shrinks, he can get up to lots of tricks. And his magic can make things go, like this. always hiding. Today, I couldn't find him anywhere.
Psst! I'm over here.
What's your plan?
Those eggs need to hatch, and someone's going to have to hatch them.
You can't hatch eggs, Grandpa.
I can't, but Mrs. Ostrich can.
And Grandpa climbed onto Mrs. Ostrich.
Elsie, hurry up!
Be careful, Grandpa.
I will.
So I set off for Sunny Sands Beach with Uncle CJ and Queenie. And Grandpa set off for the lighthouse on Mrs. Ostrich. But just after we left the meadow, someone arrived. It was Mrs. Bonglebird. She landed in her empty nest in the big tree. She looked very sad. She didn't know that Grandpa was about to help her eggs to hatch in the Dangle dish nest. He flew in through the lighthouse window. He landed very gently on the Dangle dish and got off Mrs. Ostrich.
Done. Shouldn't have to wait long.
We'd been all round Sunny Sands and there was no sign of the bunglebird. So back we came to the meadow. Mr. Mentor was very worried indeed.
I'm sorry I haven't got time to keep looking, Mr. Mentor. We have guests arriving very soon.
I know, CJ, but thank you. This is absolutely dreadful. I should never have shooed her away.
Cheer up. She's got to be somewhere.
She is. She's there. Look!
Oh, my ears. Oh, so she is. Oh, come down, Mummy Bongle. Come now, come with me and hatch your babies.
Oh, I think she's a bit afraid.
Well, of course she's afraid. I'm going straight to the lighthouse and invent something that will hatch out Mummy Bonglebird's babies.
I had to let Grandpa know that the mummy bird was here. I had an idea.
Mr. Mentor, tell the eggs that their mummy's in the meadow at the mill.
Quite right. That might encourage them to hatch. Oh, your mummy is in the meadow at the mill. Yes, right, I've got it. See you later.
Back at the lighthouse, Grandpa was still waiting.
Not long now, little eggs. Do you hear me? Just be patient.
And just then, Mr. Mentor came back.
Mrs. Ostrich, how come you're here? Elsie must have left you this morning. But how did you get into my dangle dish?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Don't tell me. One of my inventions got you there. Oh, WhizzyWoodlesome. The things they get up to when I'm not looking. Now, which one?
Grandpa climbed higher so he could see the eggs.
So many of them. Now, don't you worry, little eggs. Your mummy is in the meadow at the mill.
And just then, this happened. Mrs. Ostrich started to jiggle. And one by one, the baby bungles hatched.
Oh, it's absolutely perfectable. Marvellous. Spectacular.
Then the baby bungles jumped up and down in the nest. And then they jumped up and down on Mr. Mentor.
Oh, you're very loud. Oh, ouch! Oh, what's that? You're very hungry. Oh, no.
Then Mr. Mentor realised something else.
You think I'm your mother? Right. Don't panic. I'm not your mother, but I'll go and find you some food. Worms. I'll go right now and find you some worms. Wait right there.
Grandpa knew he had to get them back to their real mother as quickly as he could.
Right, you lot. Mrs. Ostrich and I are going to give you a flying lesson. Follow me. You ready? Flap your wings, Mrs. Ostrich.
And the baby bungles copied Mrs. Ostrich. And soon, this happened. Out of the window flew Grandpa and Mrs. Ostrich, and the baby bungles followed. And soon, Grandpa and the baby bungles flew into the meadow.
Grandpa!
Grandpa landed Mrs. Ostrich next to the nest, and the baby bungles followed. And the mummy bunglebird went...
Go on, babies. That's your mother.
The babies hopped into the nest.
You're welcome. See you in a bit, Elsie.
Just then, Uncle CJ came out in a panic.
I'm in a panic. Mr. Mentor just called. The eggs have hatched, the birds have gone. He has no idea where they are.
I have...
Oh, they're back with their mum in their proper nest. How lovely. I'll go and call Mr. Mentor right away.
I ran inside to find Grandpa.
Cap off, Grandpa. Quick! Well done.
It wasn't me, it was Mrs. Ostrich, and I couldn't have done it without you. I wouldn't have known where the mummy bird was if you hadn't asked Mr. Mentor to tell the eggs.
Yes, that was a clever idea. Teamwork, yes?
Teamwork.
Mr. Mentor is so pleased. He says that one of his inventions must have taught the bonglebirds how to fly, but he has no idea which one.
Really?
This one, I think.
We've been living in Sunny Sands all summer, me and my sister Elsie. We love Miss Smiley's cafe and Mr. Whips's shop and Mr. Mentor's lighthouse, of course.
But we also love being at the mill on the marsh, especially playing in the meadow with Grandpa, which is what we were doing today.
Oh, what a lovely, calm morning. Oh dear, I spoke too soon.
It was great, Aunt Loretta.
It's only me. I'm just packing up my washing in the courtyard if you need me. CJ told me to keep an eye on you all. He'll be back soon.
Uncle CJ had gone to visit Mr. Mentor the inventor in his lighthouse.
And that goes... Oh, there. Oh, CJ.
Mr. Mentor. I came by to invite you to a barbecue this evening in our meadow.
What a marvellous idea.
Mr. Mentor doesn't just invent things, he invents words.
And what perfectible timing. I have just invented this new invention, and you have arrived at the very moment when I'm going to test it out.
How exciting. What is it?
Well, it's a windy kind of thing, you see. It whizzes and whirls and whoops, I hope.
Yes, this was Mr. Mentor's WhizzyWoodlesome Whirly WindWhooper.
Right, let's see if it works, CJ. It might need a bit of time to think about it.
Mr. Mentor's inventions often don't actually work. He turned it on and...
Oh! Oh! Bless my ears! It whizzes and whirls and whoops! Oh! Oh! Oh!
It works all right. It's blowing everything about.
Oh! Oh! I don't ever remember one of my inventions working so quickly.
Absolutely. But what's it actually for, Mr. Mentor?
What's it for? I've no idea. But it's WhizzyWoodlesome, that's for sure. I'm going to take it to Miss Smiley's cafe. I bet she can find a use for it.
When Uncle CJ got home and told us about Mr. Mentor's new invention, Grandpa said,
But what's it for?
He has no idea, but it blew everything all over the lighthouse. He's taken it to Miss Smiley's cafe to see if she needs it.
I think Mr. Mentor's Whirly WindWhooper might be a problem in the cafe.
But it actually works. He's invented something that works, Grandpa.
Quite. Usually I have to get inside Mr. Mentor's inventions to make them work. But it looks like I'm going to have to get inside this one to stop it working.
Not the shrinking cap, Grandpa.
Catch me if you can.
Grandpa's shrinking cap is magic, of course. And when he wears it, he can make all kinds of things happen. He can drive our cousin Jason's car. Grandpa!
he can chuff about in the Sunny Sands train.
But today, he got on Elsie's Mrs. Ostrich.
And made her fly.
Oh, I'm off to Miss Smiley's. See you later.
Be careful, Grandpa.
Just then, Great Aunt Loretta came into the meadow.
Oh, Grandpa gone for a little lie down, has he? Well, he must have sneaked past me. Oh, that's better. Oh, so hot. There's not a breath of wind. Can't even see me washing flapping on the line. I like to see me washing flap.
Grandpa arrived at Miss Smiley's cafe and landed on the pier.
Miss Smiley was holding one of her craft mornings. Grandpa ran in and hid.
Everyone was busy making things as Mr. Mentor showed off his new invention.
What's not to love, Miss Smiley? Wonder Bubble or what?
Oh, it's very Wonder Bubble, Mr. Mentor. But I'm not quite sure what it actually does.
Well, it works, Miss Smiley, it works. Look.
Mr. Mentor switched on the Whirly WindWhooper and this happened.
But it was blowing so hard, he couldn't get to it. So Grandpa did this.
He climbed inside the machine. He had to stop it working.
Right, well, let's try this.
And the Whirly WindWhooper stopped whirling and whooping.
Then Grandpa reset it so it would work again when Mr. Mentor wanted it to.
Well, that is a remarkable invention, Mr. Mentor.
So remarkable, Miss Smiley, it will even turn itself off when I tell it to.
But to be honest, I'm not sure that I need a wind whooper in the cafe.
Really? Right. Well, in that case, Miss Smiley, I shall see if Mr. Whoops would like it in the toy shop.
He's been gone ages.
You two look glum. Grandpa gone for a little lie down, I guess.
I wonder what he's really up to.
Grandpa was, of course, making his way to Mr. Whoops' shop.
Mr. Whoops had got some paper aeroplane kits and had been making them with some of my friends.
But Mr. Mentor had arrived and was showing them all his WhizzyWoodlesome Whirly WindWhooper.
My WhizzyWoodlesome Whirly WindWhooper, Mr. Whoops.
Grandpa flew in while nobody was watching and climbed up the shelves.
And the thing is, it actually works.
Oh, how exciting! Show me.
Stand back.
And Mr. Mentor switched the machine on again, and this happened.
Grandpa knew he had to stop it again, so he ran and got inside the machine.
The WindWhooper stopped.
This time, Grandpa had decided to leave the machine switched off, which was safer.
Well, you can't do any harm now, and I'm off home.
There you are, you see. It is so remarkable. I only have to tell it to stop, and it stops.
Bye-bye, Mr. Whoops. See you soon. Great machine, Mr. Mentor.
Our friends were off home, and Grandpa was off home too.
The thing is, Mr. Mentor, I'm not sure I need a whirly wind whooper for my shop, see?
I see. Well, I shall just have to think of someone else, Mr. Whoops.
And while they both thought, Grandpa got back on Mrs. Ostrich and flew out of the shop.
Someone will have an idea at the barbecue, Mr. Mentor.
Yes, you're right, Mr. Whoops.
Speaking of which, it's time we set off. You can come with me and Miss Smiley in my car. You'll enjoy the ride.
Whoops. Yes. Oh, goodness.
Just when we were getting really worried about Grandpa,
Home he flew.
back Grandpa.
I am, and I've made sure the machine isn't working. But it can't stay not working forever. That'll upset Mr. Mentor. We've got to find a use for it.
And just then, Mr. Whoops' car arrived.
As Mr. Mentor, Mr. Whoops and Miss Smiley arrived in the meadow, Uncle CJ and Great Aunt Loretta came out too.
Mr. Mentor! Ooh, is this your WhizzyWoodlesome Whirly WindWhooper?
Oh, yes. And it works, Loretta. It works.
Not anymore, it doesn't.
Allow me.
Mr. Mentor switched it on and nothing happened.
Oh, it's broken. My WhirlyWhooper is no longer whirling and whooping. It is no longer WhizzyWoodlesome.
While everyone tried to cheer up Mr. Mentor, Grandpa got into the machine.
And inside, he pushed the lever and the whirly WindWhooper whirled and whooped.
We all ran for cover. The Great Aunt Loretta didn't get away in time. Grandpa stopped the machine from inside. You've thrown Great Aunt Loretta into the pool.
Ah. Oops. Wait a moment. I've just got a use for the WindWhooper.
I picked Grandpa up and put him in my pocket.
Mr. Mentor, maybe the WhizzyWoodlesome WindWhooper will dry Great Aunt Loretta.
That's a fabadiculous idea.
And he switched it on. We ran inside with Grandpa.
We dashed upstairs and put him down on the floor.
Come on, Grandpa, quick!
We did it! We found a use for Mr. Mentor's whirly WindWhooper. Did we do well, huh? Teamwork! I think there might be other uses as well.
And Grandpa was right.
Soon, the whirly WindWhooper was doing just what Aunt Loretta wanted.
Making her washing flap about.
That's better. Nothing like seeing it all flap about. Oh, you're up, Grandpa.
The sausages are ready. Come along, everyone.
I hear Mr. Mentor's invention can dry your pants whether you're wearing them or not.
Well, at least Mr. Mentor is doing something useful. Not like you, Grandpa. You're no use at all.